Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit like buttons and make sure you are subscribing. The PGMOL has been absolutely exposed. The last 24 hours has, in so many ways, debunked many of their claims, many of the people that have been publicly protecting them. And you would think this would be an opportunity for them to conduct a wider investigation to what we all know as fans has been clear bias from particular referees for a long time. And the situation with David Coote yesterday, the video that has been revealed of his personal feelings towards Jurgen Klopp, his feelings towards Liverpool, his xenophobia, which is still being ignored by the masses, which I find absolutely crazy. But instead of the PGMOL and its kind of associates, so the media outlets around it, the sort of referee pros that are in the media that we still know are on the payroll, some way, shape or form, whether directly or indirectly, instead of them coming out universally condemning the situation, David Coote is getting support. David Coote is being defended. And the media is about to go on an onslaught to double down and push back against the football clubs, who I think have been proven right in this situation. So we're going to take a look at some of the clips that are out there and some of the news articles that have come out as well. But I wanted to start actually with, we know that the PGMOL have suspended David Coote. But what I find really crazy is that, yes, they suspended him. But before that suspension went through, the PGMOL hired a group of tech experts to examine the video. Their first initial approach to this situation, and this just shows the tone-dead nature of this organization. You know, like where they try and make a point on televised games, but then ignore the same situations on a 3 p.m. game. You know what? Book a few people for kicking the ball away on the televised games. Don't worry about it on the 3 p.m.s. Nobody sees it. They're so out of touch. They're so out of touch, it's unbelievable. They thought they could run this story that it was a deep fake. This only lasted about an hour and a half, but it shows the position that David Coote and the PGMOL took initially. How do we get out of this situation rather than addressing it head on? You now see the likes of Dermot O'Gallagher jumping to the defense of David Coote, whose words are, I don't think any referee would go into a game without being professional. Now, this is where it becomes really contentious because football clubs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, have been calling this out for a long time. And I said on yesterday's video in the comments, I didn't address it in the video, but I say it again now, this is not just about Liverpool, even though Coote's video was specifically about them. This is about refereeing at large. Fans for a long time have believed that there are particular referees who are consistently biased against them. Gary Neville revealed on the Overlap a month or so ago when Howard Webb was on that in his conversations with referees, they told him that at times they held grudges based on past problems with clubs and they would stick it to them in a particular game. They wouldn't give them a penalty when they deserved it. They'd send the man off if it was borderline to get them back. This was quashed by Howard Webb, but we now have proof from two different sources, one being Gary Neville and now this video that from David Coote, that this exists. And the reason why you've got to pull this out is because they say nobody goes onto the field being unprofessional. David Coote was dropped by VAR because he forgot that he could review Jordan Pickford's horror lunge on Van Dijk when he busted his cruciate ligament. I mean, forgetting the rules as a top-level referee after what you've said on video, I'm personally not buying it. You also factor in Doku fly kicking somebody in the chest as an example. I'm not buying it. There are multiple examples that Liverpool fans have shared where this absolutely, for me personally, my personal opinion, okay, in case the PGMOL want to write me another letter threatening to sue me, my personal opinion on what I'm seeing is that this man held a bias against Liverpool and that damaged them in games. We've also seen the Premier League get involved in this. And we can see here that the Premier League slammed Liverpool and Arsenal over their VAR complaints. This was last season. Chiefs admit that the system needs fixing and experience for fans in stadiums is dreadful, but they absolutely slammed, they kicked off with, they were frustrated with, they attacked in every single way, shape and form Liverpool and Arsenal last season for their, by the way, rightful complaints. We also saw this when Nottingham Forest came out and put a post out about the situation. This is what was said by the mainstream media.
Jamie, that is extraordinary, isn't it?
It tells you where we are with the Premier League now and the clubs. And Stuart Atwell and Anthony Taylor have had a horrific day today. Awful. And they should be rightly criticised for that. And that could be real implications for Nottingham Forest. I get the frustration. But what I've just read there on social media, that's like a fan in a pub. That is embarrassing from Nottingham Forest. I get the frustration. That rubbish about the VAR's a Luton fan. You can't get involved in that. You've got to show a little bit of class if you're a football club.
No, I don't think you do. Do you know what? When Jamie Carragher said this, I think Gary Neville kind of echoed him. Everybody but then becomes tribalistic. And this is the most important thing for football fans listening to this. Please, on this subject matter, drop your tribalism. If you benefit from a result and a decision, and that decision is criticised, your club isn't being attacked. And even if a few lame brains do attack your club in that process, do not be dragged into the tribalistic turf war that we have as football fans. That is what the PGMOL, what the mainstream media want. When Carragher here says they're acting like a fan in a pub, sometimes we know best. You see this regularly in real life. You might see a politician in the media say, well, these local people living in Hackney are claiming that X, Y, and Z is going on in their community. But we can see no evidence of this. We believe this to be a conspiracy theory. Bruv, I grew up there. I knew what was going on. We could see it. We heard about it. Sometimes that anecdotal evidence is true. Equally, you got to go with your gut sometimes. Liverpool fans and Arsenal especially, I want to point this out to you. Watch your backs. There's a feeling now that Liverpool might start to get some favourable decisions because of this Coote situation. But I believe what the PGMOL is going to do, and I think in the next few days you'll see it on Sky, TalkSport, you'll see Dermot Gallagher has already come out and done it. They are just going to say that this is a stupid video that should never have been recorded. It's okay for a person to have these personal feelings. They just shouldn't share them publicly. But everything is professional. There is no bias. There are no agendas. And because Liverpool and Arsenal have been the most vocal fans, they are the clubs that I think are going to end up being targeted. And you know, the irony is they're so tone deaf, these individuals, that they're going to take it and go, well, they're going to come down hard on these clubs for making a noise, the same as Nottingham Forest as well, and I think Wolves could be a club for this, Man United maybe as well. They're actually going to think that we're not going to notice an increase in the bias again. You'll probably find the referees are going to go, well, I'm going to stick it to Liverpool now because they've gone after our mate. I think everybody that has ever accused referees of bias is right. And I think we're now going to see a massive kickback in the other direction. This here was on TalkSport earlier on today. Take a little listen to this.
First thing I've got to ask you, mate, I mean, he clearly done himself absolutely no favours at all, Mark. Have you got any sympathy for him?
Yeah, look. I mean, same with me yesterday. My phone didn't stop ringing. Once the video was released. Yeah, listen. Look, it's a private video between two friends in their house.
Irrelevant, absolutely irrelevant, and I'll tell you why.
And something
in a minute
like this shouldn't have been released. Obviously, he's been let down badly. But having said that, he's just got to be so careful these days what you do. Well, you know that. Andy knows that. You just got to be so careful with mobile phones and video cameras. And I just really feel for him. I
feel for him because he's been caught. There is no conversation here about his behaviour, his conduct, his xenophobia on the Liverpool situation at hand. And there is a wider conversation here. And when I hear this, he's a human though, he's allowed his own opinions, he's not a robot. Listen, this is where I disagree. I don't disagree that he's not a robot or he's not a human. There are certain jobs in this world, and I think refereeing sport, umpiring sport, fits into this category. But there are many jobs that require you to be impartial, that require you to have an unbiased approach, and where you have to have the ability to handle criticism and remain objective and fair, and resilience is essential. And I think refereeing and umpiring is one of them. I think being a judge or a magistrate, typically speaking, a journalist or a reporter, and journalists have been called out massively in the last decade for losing that impartiality. I think if you're a mediator or an arbitrator, if you're doing some type of research or scientific kind of research, there needs to be that. There absolutely does. Social workers, counsellors. You could argue a customer service representative. You know, just because a woman phones up doesn't mean you give them less respect than a man. Just because somebody's a bit disrespectful to you doesn't mean that you go, oh, you know, I've noticed a problem here with their account. They're going to get charged something they shouldn't. Okay, I'm going to ignore it because they were rude to me on the call. No, you've got to be professional. If you work in audit or compliance is another example where you've got to do these things. We mentioned it yesterday, being a police officer or a law enforcement. Now, there are different severities to this job, but there are certain professions in this world where you have to be impartial, where if you get criticism, you've got to be able to take it. And you don't go and record. You don't go and slag off these individuals. I think at the same time, when you go with your gut feelings are often very right. And when you look at the gut feeling that a lot of football fans have, that their clubs get unfairly targeted by particular referees, you couple it in with this evidence. You look at the way the PGMOL has already sent out its ex-referees to defend the situation. The media is going to come next. And the third element of this is they're going to come down harder on the clubs complaining. As we've already shown, the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Arsenal have been slammed before, and they're probably going to be attacked again because the approach of the PGMOL, the approach of the FA, the approach of the Premier League for decades now, whenever criticism is raised about their officiating or their running of a competition, is to punish you. They never take their medicine, they never self-reflect, and they don't really, in my opinion, ever address the problems we the fans see. For one reason or another, the media seems to consistently back them in these scenarios over and over and over again. And I'm not sure if that's going to change this time around. Liverpool, Arsenal, I think they're coming for you. I think they're coming for you personally. The worst thing you can do from this point is become tribalistic and stand alone. Everybody needs to come together. Wolves, Nottingham Forest, two teams that stand out with having these bad results. Man United, Chelsea, we have our problems with referees, especially Anthony Taylor when you're a Chelsea fan. This is about everybody uniting and not making it about themselves. We have to keep pushing because I think the juggernaut that is the mainstream media, coupled with the ex-referees and the PGMOL, they may throw David Coote to the Wolves on this, but they are going to double down and push back on everything else. And I think you can take that to the bank. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, always a massive thank you from me. Please hit the like and the share button. Please share this in your group chats. I'd love to get as many opinions on this video as possible. Take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.